Salute, salute. Welcome into the show. The streets are buzzing. Hope everyone's doing well. How have you been? Salute to the chat. Salute Knicks Nation. Salute, salute, salute. Great to be with you for another show. Almost Friday. We've got hoops on the way. Jalen Brunson, Barrett, Josh Hart. About to take on the world with the FIBA World Cup. We'll get into that and a lot more. Salute, salute, salute. How's everyone feeling? Hope everyone's doing well. Great to be with you. Been on a mini vacation, but I'm back and lots to talk about as always. Salute to the best chat in the biz. Hope everyone's doing well. And let's get ready to talk about it. The Knicks take on the world. The FIBA World Cup kicks off today, tonight, tomorrow morning, wherever you're at. And I cannot wait. USA begins their group versus New Zealand on Saturday Eastern time, about 8:30. Saturday morning. Friday morning, Barrett, Team Canada, face Evan Fournier. With France, that's going to be a great game. Lots to look at with this tournament. We'll talk about it later in the show in terms of teams to look out for, our expectations. As a Knicks fan, what can we see? But obviously there's other stuff to talk about first. I haven't had a chance to discuss what's been going on with this New York Knicks, Toronto Raptors civil suit. Want to get people's thoughts on it. What can we hope to get out of this? What can we expect? There's been a lot said since the news broke. Obviously it's been addressed from the Toronto side of things as well. It's a wait and see prospect. We wait to see what comes of it. But what can we expect? We'll talk about the layers in terms of the dynamic now between the New York Knicks and the Toronto Raptors in terms of the relationship, between these two teams. And it sparks a conversation that I want to dive into in terms of, okay, look, it's not like the Knicks and the Raptors were really doing trades anyway. In terms of the relationship, it's hard to see the Knicks and Raptors, even doing a trade now with all this going on, with there's so many layers involved. But it sparked a conversation in my mind about, okay, like how often would the Knicks trade within their division, with a team in their division as well. So we're going to go through it. We're going to go through the history of what was the last trade the Knicks and the Raptors made, the last trade the Knicks and the Celtics made, the Nets, the Sixers, and we'll talk about it, right? Spoiler alert, there's not many trades. It's very, very, very rare that a team will trade within their division. So the OG thing, was a great player and a hot target for Knicks fans. Would love to see a player like him in this Raptors situation. This suit just adds another layer on that as well. We'll get into that and more. But salute to the best chat. Hope everyone's doing well. How we feeling? Meaningful hoops. Whether you're a fan of the international game or not, for diehard Knicks fans, like this is good for the dog days of the off season. We're basically in the middle of August. We're waiting for training camp, but the proposition right now, some of the Knicks' best players take on the world. They're in action. Barrett's going to get a really great platform this tournament to showcase his summer and his game evolving. Talk about evolving. Jalen Brunson, I feel, continues to evolve as a leader. We heard from him last night, on, his thoughts on this upcoming tournament and his chances to win and lead Team USA to another gold, stacking up that gold. Evan Fournier went off against Team Australia. I watched that game live as well. I'll give you my thoughts on what I saw. Obviously, France were playing Australia, so I was there to see it all live. And then obviously there's some dark horses in the tournament. Dirty Dancer's talking about they're looking forward to the tournament and some things to keep an eye out on as well. There's a lot of good teams in this tournament. Salute Andrew, Dirty, what's good? That's a tap. Prometheus, Knicks chat. How we feeling? I'm ready to get into this. So the first thought I've got with this situation is it's obviously a civil suit, the New York Knicks and the Raptors. With that said, the New York Knicks, if they file a suit, generally when you feel aggrieved, there's a grievance there. Former scout, video coordinator, employee, this guy on screen, used to work for the New York Knicks. Obviously got another opportunity, whatever it may be. People move jobs all day, every day. But there's many layers in terms of like what's legal, what's ethical, lot of different things. But by all accounts, allegedly this guy did some very, very stupid, dumb things in terms of that were very traceable. Firstly, downloading information, sharing passwords to a New York Knicks Synergy video account. Very, very traceable things. Downloading it from his Knicks account, from his Knicks email to his personal email right before he bailed. So that doesn't sound right to me. It's unethical. Whether it's legal or whatever, that will be decided. But yeah, the New York Knicks certainly have a case to look into with this. Like, it comes down to, a lot of people have said this happens a lot, and that doesn't make it right. It does happen a lot in the everyday workforce. People do take intel information to their next job. That's what makes them valuable. But with that said, the New York Knicks obviously treasured valuable information. It was information that's sensitive. It's information that was going to help the Raptors. How it was obtained and shared does seem to be, wrong. And I think, what can we expect to see out of this? Well, firstly, the NBA hasn't really come out and made a statement, haven't acknowledged it. It's a civil suit. Who knows whether they will acknowledge it? I think it's going to get to a point where they have to. This thing's probably not going to just be swept under the rug anytime soon. So in terms of like fantasy kind of stuff, there's no way the Knicks are getting heavy player or pick compensation out of it. I would expect probably monetary compensation. If the league steps in and feels like it was, we might find new facts. So the league might feel, okay, maybe the New York Knicks might get a second round pick. Something that does help us, but we'll see. The Raptors side of things, the coverage I've seen from their media is obviously downplaying it. Talking about trying to sink the boot into the Knicks and you try to bring up old narratives like, why would you want to take information from the Knicks? Stuff like that lets you know that you just don't follow what's happening. You just lose instant credibility, in my eyes. And yeah, I'm sure this happens all over the league. Like, especially a head coach going from one team to another team, they're definitely going to bring information, intel, all of those things. But yeah, the nature and the way this guy, did it, shared passwords, all of those things, sensitive information, playbooks, all of those things. I think the Knicks are going to win this case from what I've seen in terms of, if all the facts there are to present. But I don't really feel like it's going to be a huge, kind of ripple effect in terms of the basketball side of the New York Knicks, in terms of, us getting, great basketball compensation. It's probably going to be monetary. This guy might get fined. Obviously, he might lose his job. Maybe there's a further investigation into the Raptors. But one other layer significantly is there's obviously allegations that the new coach for the Raptors was playing a big part in this. Maybe this guy might have been hesitant maybe the new coach was encouraging this guy to dig further and to share those accounts, information, etc. So that may play a huge factor in this new coach, maybe trying to get off to a great start. Um, the New York Knicks feel like they have their structures in place. Obviously, Tom Thibodeau's been around a long, long time, experienced assistants, and all of those things. So, yeah, we wait for more facts. Like I said, I was away for a few days, but yeah, good to address it nonetheless. And then it's going to be an ongoing situation. But the biggest talking point, like I said earlier, that this kind of brings up is the Knicks and the Raptors. Fans were hopeful of the Knicks and the Raptors, maybe building a relationship there to pull off a trade. But I want to, scale it back and bring up, the point that the Raptors are always in the New York Knicks division. And how likely is it? Like, what's been the history of the New York Knicks trading within their division? We're gonna get into it. Basketball Reference lets us know the trade history of all these teams, and I think people are going to be shocked. In fact, we're going to take a trip down memory lane. But yeah, salute Dirty Dancer. Going to use your day off to watch many of these games coming up. Yep, we'll look into it. We'll talk about it. Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, first and foremost, leading the way for the New York Knicks. Cannot wait. We'll talk about the teams to look out for. I saw Brazil live in a warm-up game. I saw South Sudan, the 16-year-old prodigy, the Sudanese kid, 16 years of age, just got approved to be in the squad. He's 7'2", 7'3", 16 years old. He was great to see live. Brazil impressed me. But who are the teams to beat? Dominican Republic look dangerous as well. Slovenia. We'll talk about my wild cards coming up. We'll talk about what else. You guys let me know. What else do you think can come out of this in terms of punishment? Obviously, the NBA likes to do investigation and hear all the facts. Just because they haven't put out a statement doesn't let you know that they're not doing anything. I'm sure they're probably, looking into everything, and I'm sure eventually they'll do something. But right now, it's a civil case, and it's all about the teams, the employees, the courts are gonna handle it like they should, professionals. But yeah, this guy might not get hired by another organization. Some of these facts are quite damning. There's ways to do things. Like I said, it's like you can kind of look at it like shoplifting. Not comparing the two things, but examples could be you steal a couple of pieces of gum, or you do a serious organized shoplifting kind of thing. It just seems how far down the tunnel we go, the bigger the punishment is going to be. Salute Sharp Powers, what's good? Salute. But yeah, getting into it, obviously the talk has been, OG Anunoby's been a big target for the Knicks. Pascal Siakam does sound like he's really on the trade block still. Now the Knicks have expressed interest in OG Anunoby through reports. How big of the interest we don't know yet. But it's still very unlikely that the Knicks do a trade within a division. But with this new scenario, I don't see the Knicks and Raptors doing a trade for a long time. And it's been a long time already before this thing even happened. So we might even save the Raptors till last. We'll dive in. We'll look at Boston first, right? So what was the trade history between the New York Knicks and Boston? And what was the last trade we did? Obviously within our division. Let's bring it up. So we know the first one, August 17, 2021. Not that long ago. the New York Knicks obviously signed and traded for Evan Fournier. Right, I don't really classify that as a major move because, like, Fournier was coming to an end. He was an expiring contract that Boston traded for, for a playoff run. It didn't work out, and they didn't want to lose Fournier for nothing. So that's why they did the trade for the New York Knicks, the sign and trade that brought Evan Fournier to the New York Knicks, right? I don't consider that a major move, right? Boston, you could say, probably only did the deal to get something out of it, just so they didn't lose Fournier for nothing. But what was the last trade with Boston before that? It was 2010. The New York Knicks traded Marcus Landry and Nate Robb to the Boston Celtics, right? For Billy Walker, Eddie House, and J.R. Giddens, and a 2014 second round pick, right? So outside of the Fournier sign and trade, we got to go back 13 years since the Knicks did a trade with Boston. So, like, it's very, very unlikely. Like, you don't want to do deals within your division. You don't want to improve the other team you're competing with heavily 4 times a year. So, yeah, that just adds another layer onto why the OG trade's very, very unlikely. Just for argument's sake, what was the last trade before 2010? It was 1997, where the New York Knicks traded Scotty Brooks, Dante Jones, Walter McCarty, yeah, for Chris Mills. So, yeah, there we have it. And the last one before that, 1979, man, was not even born yet. So, the Knicks have basically made 3 trades with the Celtics in the 40 years I've been alive. So, right, don't talk to me about trades with the Celtics at this point. Right, next up, the Brooklyn, New Jersey Nets. Right, what do we have here? The year I was born, 1983. Right, that's going back 40 years right now for the New Jersey Nets. The Knicks traded a second round pick, right, to the Nets for Len Elmore. Right, so that lets you know, division or no division, the Knicks aren't even trading with the Nets. So don't talk to me about Mikal Bridges trades or anything like that, right? I'm showing you facts. Teams don't trade within the division very often. So, next up, what do you guys think? Have a guess, the last trade with the Philadelphia 76ers. Where we at? Let's pull it up. Philly. Let's fire this thing up. Have a guess. Fam, salute J Boog. What's good? We're going through the trades within the division. Right. March of 2021, it was a 3-team trade. The New York Knicks traded Austin Rivers to the Thunder. The Knicks traded Iggy Brasdegas to Philly. And the Thunder traded George Hill to the Sixers. The Sixers traded Terrence Ferguson, Poirier, and a 21 second, which ended up being Jericho Sims. So salute for that. That was a good transaction. We got out of Austin Rivers. He was disgruntled at the time. We got T. Ferg. We waived him, I think. We got Evan Fournier's countryman, Poirier. We waived him as well. And we kept the Jericho Sims pick as well. So, 3-team trade, quite a minor transaction. We're not really improving the Sixers. They're not really improving us. That's kind of the trade that you can expect to see during a division rivals trade. What was the trade before that with the Sixers? It was 2015. Philly traded a 2015 second, which ended up being Billy Hernan Gomez. I think that was on draft night. For another pick, Tyler Bay was later selected as well. That was with Phil Jackson. I remember Phil Jackson really, he really liked Billy. So, so there you go, guys. And we're about to hit on Toronto. But obviously that paints a huge picture for you all, right? The last trade was 2021 with Philly, and then before that was 2015. 2014 was a very minor trade. It was the Travis Outlaw trade. Isaac Bonga as well. Then 2003, a big 4-team trade. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the Knicks and Philly have done a few more deals, but very, very minor deals as well. So it goes back to my point about Joel Embiid, right? I think that even if packages are very similar, if you're Daryl Morey, if the packages are very similar, what incentive would you have to trade him to the New York Knicks and make a division rival a powerhouse versus send him into the Central Division or send him out west, kind of thing. So yeah, and this Toronto thing, we obviously know the worst trade in probably New York Knicks history, but it was the last trade the Knicks and the Raptors made was 2013 for Andrea Bargnani. Who could forget? Though we look back on it, it was 10 years ago. So even without this Raptors legal case, the Knicks and the Raps haven't done a deal for 10 years. So that lets you know OG Anunoby's not coming right now. So what else can we really take from this is I think the Knicks just need to continue to obviously see what trades are out there, but be very realistic now in terms of, wanting a target of a player within a division. But also, I think the New York Knicks did great with the Jalen Brunson deal because it was a free agent signing. If we need to do a sign and trade to clear up cap space, that can be done. But yeah, trades are very fickle. Relationships around the league are key. And right now, the relationship between the Raptors and the Knicks, right, that's only going to get more fractured from what we've seen. J Boogie, salute. The Greek Freak has let it be known that he's not signing a contract extension next month. He wants to see what Milwaukee can do, make moves to compete. Aaron Rodgers should call him. Salute, J Boogie. Yep. We'll talk about that tonight as well. Giannis's quotes, like J Boogie says, talking to the New York Times, Giannis wants it all, even if it's not in Milwaukee. The superstar has grand ambitions as a businessman and a player. On whether he'll sign an extension next summer, it would make more sense for both parties. Even then, I don't know. I would not be the best version of myself if I don't know that everybody's on the same page. Everybody's going for a chip. Everybody's going to sacrifice time away from their family, like I do. If I don't feel that, I'm not signing. Man. There are very, very clear words from Giannis. You got to stand up, pay attention to that. Obviously, Milwaukee's not in our division, right? They're never going to let Giannis walk for nothing. Let me know what you guys think. You guys think about Giannis. Now that we've looked at the Joel Embiid scenario, is it more plausible that Giannis Antetokounmpo is a more likely guy that could end up being a New York Knick over Joel Embiid? But yeah, like I said, I just don't see Morey trading Embiid to the New York Knicks. Dirty says it probably means IQ is safe from an OG trade. Yep. Yeah, definitely. I feel like that's the case right now. Now, that doesn't mean the Raptors aren't going to move OG. Now, if he moves another team before his contract ends, then the New York Knicks might have a chance to trade for him. But one would think a team won't trade for OG unless they can get that guarantee from OG to stay where he gets traded. Also, you feel like there's maybe more of a likeliness Morey can do a deal within the division. You feel like he's always willing to do a deal. Like I said, obviously you never say never. You just got to look at the track record, the history. Um, but as I said, my point was if packages are very similar and you have a clear choice, it may come down to what players and picks you like. But if you're trading Joel Embiid to the New York Knicks, you're going to expect them to be really good. So their draft picks may not be as valuable. Maybe you're going to ask for, 2029 draft picks, 2030 draft picks. So that, you can bank on the New York Knicks maybe regressing later. But yeah, I feel like you'll probably choose a team that's not in the division more than anything. King Ribby, salute. Trini, what's good? Killer Dogs, what's good? Streets. Yeah, ready to see some FIBA action this morning. Coming up. Our guys are in action finally. Cannot wait to see it. The latest version 3 of the FIBA Power Rankings is released. It's very fickle. Their power rankings. Australia lost to Brazil. They beat France and they fell 3 spots. Germany competed with the Team USA. Maybe won a few games against Canada. And they're all the way up to number 2 right now. France drops a spot. Spain moves up. Canada. We'll talk about it tonight. What can we expect? But yeah, it's great to see Jalen Brunson there. He was speaking to the media about many things, about leading this team, coming in no nonsense, expectations to win, right? Team USA, right? It's gold or nothing for Team USA. We've got a brand new team, a team that hasn't really played FIBA ball, a big tournament, so it's going to be a breath of fresh air for these guys. At some point you'd expect they're going to face some kind of adversity in a major tournament. At some point, like there's teams that can hang. Obviously, I mentioned the lack of FIBA tournament experience with these guys, but then there's no doubt they're the most talented team. There's no doubt on their day. When everyone's clicking, they're gonna steamroll some people. But I'll talk about which teams do I feel are in certain tiers. Like I got Team USA, obviously a top tier. The second tier I would put France, Spain, Canada, and Australia. Based on their track record, I'm not trying to disrespect Germany because they have a very good squad, but I would say based on Olympics, experienced guys, track record, tier 2 would be France, Spain, Canada, and Australia. Tier 3 has got some really dangerous teams that I feel like could still create some problems. That's the Dominican Republic. They've obviously got Cat. They've got NBA guys. I watched Brazil live. They're a very good squad. They got Bruno. They got Neto, Felicio, Huertas, and a lot of other players that can really shoot the ball. They shot well. And then I would also have Slovenia and Germany in that third tier. Obviously, Luka could go off at any moment. And then Germany have the Wagner brothers, Schroeder, Tice, Isaac Bonga, all of that. So yeah, Brazil, Dominican Republic, Slovenia, probably even Serbia and Lithuania, the next tier below. But yeah, it's going to be fun. Team USA kick it off, obviously in the morning, Saturday morning. Tune in if you can. It's on ESPN2. Saturday morning versus New Zealand. That should get them off to a great start for Team USA. And then earlier, Friday morning, Canada. RJ Barrett takes on France with Evan Fournier. Love to see those guys matched up on each other. That would be great. SGA was a kind of a dark horse for winning the MVP of this tournament. But I think RJ Barrett might just surprise a lot of people. Now, still dealing with a lot of critique, criticism, etc. People want to see it. They want to see his game take off. And this is the perfect platform for RJ Barrett. No Jamal Murray, no Andrew Wiggins. And I think RJ Barrett's really, really going to have a great showing in this tournament, and it's going to carry on into into the season for the New York Knicks. Yeah, and I cannot wait. What are you guys looking forward to? In terms of the Giannis news, Dirty saying Bucks can't really make any moves because of the second apron. He's saying you better at least pay Drew. Yeah, you could read a lot like that into it. You're right. You could also look at like, hey, you got to make ruthless decisions. Like, let's say Chris Middleton has another year of struggles, another injury year. You know, he's basically trying to say, hey, I've delivered. I've won the Bucks a chip. Let me do what like LeBron does, and it's like make the moves required so that we can continue to compete. But yeah, to me, nothing's really off the table with the NBA, right? One day we think OG and we think Embiid are the most likely guys, and then like 1 week later, it's like this legal suit, you know, and a quote from Giannis changes everything. Don't forget, Damian Lillard still hasn't been traded, right? We might just hear a news out of nowhere that the New York Knicks are in those sweepstakes. Because we could look at it like Miami either get Dame or we get him. We take him away, and Miami are worse. So I haven't heard anything. Obviously, there has been reports that the New York Knicks would entertain a Dame Lillard trade, but it doesn't seem like we're the biggest player in those discussions. But my point is, you just never know. Things can change weekly in the NBA, daily, etc. But yeah, you're 100% right with Giannis and what this means. Because I feel like, yeah, he's dealing with the situation where some people don't look at Giannis like he's the best player in the league. He probably feels like he is, I'm guessing. And he's delivered a chip to the Milwaukee Bucks. So he'd be thinking like, okay, well, we had a down year. It's time to all get right, get on the same page, and go for it again, and do these things that's necessary. Mil Bester asks, what exactly is the issue in Philly? I'm confused with the Harden, Embiid, Morey situation and what's happening to that franchise. Yeah, a lot of people confused. We don't know the full facts, but basically James Harden feels frustrated when he originally was traded. He feels like he was either promised or it was insinuated that he was going to get maxed out, a max contract. Daryl Morey didn't come with the max. He feels slighted by that. He feels frustrated. And he probably feels like he wants to be in LA with the Clippers, his number one destination. And obviously maybe he doesn't have the best relationship with Harden. They both had their struggles in the playoffs. He might be concerned that maybe this isn't my best pathway to a chip. But the way James Harden operates, is that he doesn't really need a lot of reasons to want to move. He's been one of the most actively movable players because of his trade requests. So with that said, I just feel like he wants to get out of Philly. He's ticked off with Morey. And Embiid, it's a difficult trade for Philly to make, and Embiid is probably going to feel like our team got worse. You trade James Harden, you're not going to get all-star value back. What's left for me? I'm going to have to carry us all over again. So yeah, it's a difficult situation to see Philly coming out of this good. Right? With that said, I think James Harden is an aging guy. He's an aging star. They're some of the more difficult players to trade because they're probably more valuable for you to keep than actually trade, and what kind of value you're going to get. back in return. So ultimately, I feel like Harden's going to still be on Philly during training camp. They're probably going to have to do some mediation for that to happen because he generally feels really ticked off by Daryl Morey and calling him a liar as well. That's out there. That's on record. And man, I probably see him doing even more stuff to force this thing and get out of there, make that trade happen. We talk about trades within the division and Philly being in the Knicks division. Right? If Philly get worse, like I said, New York Knicks, I've already got them ahead of Philly right now in my power rankings. But we're getting closer and closer to that top of the East for this season, right? We're a player away from popping or an acquisition away for the New York Knicks to be among the best, to be the best in the East. Obviously, health, injuries, all of those things has to go right. But with what's going on, this could unsettle the Milwaukee Bucks even more. So look out. Look out. Salute J Bull. Eric says Miami is very happy with their team and they're coming back with the players. The biggest quote he says was Tyler's back and healthy. Dame is not coming to Miami. Yet the Portland Trailblazers don't like that deal. They don't like what's offered. That could be another situation where the Heat, drag it out and they don't get that deal done. And then they're kind of stuck as well, fam. Yeah, a healthy hero is going to help them a bit, but they're not on the Knicks level, I feel, with losing Strauss and Vincent. That's a lot to make up. A lot of defense, a lot of shooting. The New York Knicks added defense and shooting with DiVincenzo as well. Dirty feels like also, their roster is a mess right now. Yep. Look, so far, the longer this off-season's going and the more it's going south for some of these teams, we're kind of, like I said, our off-season didn't win the headlines. It didn't win the back pages. It wasn't sexy to some. But like I said, sometimes continuity is the best thing if things are going well. And the Knicks had a crazy, excellent, hell of a season last year, right? 47 wins, right? When no one expected that. Some people are still not expecting that, and definitely 50 wins is in the Knicks' grasp right now, and a lot of talented Knicks players are going to be playing excellent competition, right? I think Brunson is going to really learn about, leading his country, leading a team more in this situation. Possibly the highest stakes he's played in. I know, you could debate me about Western Conference Finals with Dallas, but he had Luka. He also had Luka with him. That was probably the height of Brunson's NBA career. But being the captain, the leader, Captain America for his country in this World Cup tournament, where it's gold or bust, you could also argue that that's high stakes, or as high of a stakes as well. FIBA competition, man, let me tell you, it's so even. The fact is the rules are different. You can be physical, 10-minute quarters, so you get down early, you can dig yourself a hole as well. Players can get away with a lot in FIBA competition. And like I said, there's some great teams coming in with NBA experience. So, right, on their day, you get hot, you shoot well, any team can win. Now, Jalen Brunson is going to be the starter on the team. Tyrese is still there, but one would have to expect Anthony Edwards, based on his form. He gets the start at the 2. He's looking great. He's looking amazing. But I think, him and Jalen Brunson complement each other. I think Tyrese will maybe close some games, possibly, as we saw against the last game. Jalen Brunson was sent to the bench for a bit. But But Jalen Brunson's a leader. He's been a winner everywhere he's been, and I expect him to dominate this tournament. Uh, Maybe some games he's not going to score in the double digits. Maybe 50 might average maybe 15 to 17 points, but I expect his assist numbers to get up. I expect JB to get his teammates involved, hit the big clutch shots like Melo did back in the day. You can't leave Jalen Brunson open. He might see some struggles defensively. Not that I'm envisioning it, but it's a possibility because smaller guards do have some trouble in FIBA. So there's some big guards, some big teams playing on this scene. And like I said, you could get really physical. Really physical. The refs let a lot of things go. There's no three defensive seconds in the paint. You could swat the ball off the rim. There's only 5 fouls where you could foul out. When I was watching Fournier play Australia, Fournier, obviously everything we expect from Fournier was there. The shooting was lights out. He was kind of the go-to guy, so it's easier to look good when the team is focusing on you as the focal point. But Fournier shot the 3 ball really well. The dribble drive was there. The Euro step crossover. But on the other side, he still struggled defensively. He picked up his 4th foul early in the third and had to sit from halfway through the third to halfway through the 4th. He had to sit an entire quarter with foul trouble with his 4th foul. So that let me know, obviously, Australia were aggressive. Josh Giddey was attacking Evan Fournier. The other wings, Thibault, Josh Green, those guys were attacking Fournier. He picked up his foul trouble. So, and then Fournier missed the go-ahead 3 late to help his team win, and France went down by 4 points. So, more of the same from Fournier. He shoots it well. He's going to be a dynamic offensive player for France, but look out for it defensively. Teams are going to target him. Best believe that, just like Australia did. And he's their best offensive player, so it's kind of France are in a bind because he was going off, and Australia just got him off the floor. They went at him, and he ended up having to sit with 4 fouls. So it's tricky. Now, if you're a team playing Team USA, you're probably going to say Brunson's the weakest defender. So that's something to watch. Do teams target him and go at him, and how does Jalen Brunson respond? Right, I expect him to do great, and I can't wait to watch it. Obviously, I know the time zone's a bit off for our fam in the US, North America as well, but obviously it's not in the middle of the night, so that's okay too. You could probably catch all the games on the weekends. ESPN2 on Saturday in the morning, so that's great. Now, RJ Barrett plays sooner. So RJ Barrett plays in the morning, basically Friday, 9 a.m. versus Evan. So that's great. Speaking of targeting Evan Fournier, RJ Barrett should definitely go at him. He should eat as well. He's going to get a lot of on-ball reps, probably off-ball as well. Obviously, they got Dylan Brooks, they got Alexander Walker, they got Lou Dort, SGA. They've got a lot of players that are capable. But I feel like if Canada is going to make the knockout rounds or even medal, RJ Barrett's going to have a great tournament. Shot selection's got to be key because obviously the FIBA game, it's a little more team oriented. To beat the zone, you've got to pass. Teams will pack the paint. Like I said, no three defensive seconds in the paint. So these big European teams especially got big men that will just stand there. So RJ Barrett is going to hopefully continue to shoot well. Shoot well from three. He's been efficient. His shot selection's been really good. And like I said, the passing game is going to be key. How he works together with SGA, the two-man game, is going to be great, because that could really get Canada deep into this tournament and further along. Obviously, they're rising up the rankings, +2 up to the 5th spot right now. Killer salute. I hear that Halliburton says he's going to kill us this season. Yeah. Look, Indiana should be better, but really, I know there's that debate between Halliburton and Jalen Brunson. That's going to continue to be a hot debate this tournament. Who do Team USA roll with down the stretch? Right, let's see. I back Jalen Brunson all day, every day, because he's done it. He's been a leader ever since he started playing professionally. He even won at FIBA level, I think under 17s. He won the gold with FIBA. He's obviously won in college. He's helped every NBA franchise be a winner as well. So I just think it's obviously a lineup crunch, right? You got to have Ant Edwards there. So it's kind of like, is it Brunson next to him, or is it Halliburton for stretches? Or maybe when Ant-Man sits, maybe it's Halliburton next to JB. Not just for Team USA though. Look out for these teams to mix and match each game, right? Whatever the matchup calls for. Talking about, let's say, New Zealand, Australia, Team USA play New Zealand on Saturday. I would expect that they don't really need to change much what's been working. They should blow them out and rest some guys. We could have Austin Reeves, and we could have Josh Hart maybe close the game out as well. Yeah, we know what it is. New Zealand's just not as strong. Yeah, let us know what you're backing this season, right? Dirty says I'm putting that bet on the plus 1800 to win the East. A lot of value. Yeah, get on early too, because like I said about the overs unders, as the Knicks start well, these odds are going to climb as well. What's good, AP? Salute. JB's job in this tournament has to be the leader, that he doesn't have to be a star. Someone tell Tyrese rivalries are made in the playoffs. Let him play his first game in the playoffs first. Yes, facts. Yeah. Look, I like Tyrese's confidence. I like his game. I'm just not the biggest fan of Tyrese's is some of the stuff he said. Some of the stuff he said in the past. Yeah, he's got a quick trigger. He's got a quick mouth. Does Tyrese? And he was pissed that the Knicks didn't select him. I remember when the Knicks beat the Kings. It was his rookie year. The Knicks defeated the Kings, or something like that. No, sorry, the Kings defeated the Knicks. I think one of his first games with the Kings, and straight away after the game, he went on Twitter to post a meme, the Kermit meme, trying to troll Knicks and Knicks fans. I'm like, this dude hasn't accomplished anything yet. Like, some of these dudes, their talk game is better than their actual court game. So yeah, great point. Help your team win. That's the best accolade any player can have, any label. Talk to any coach, any GM, any scout in the league, right? As a player that helps your team win, right? We could bring in microwave scorers like Jimmer Fredette, dudes in Europe, Mike James, or whoever these players are that can put up 40. Jeremy Lin could put up 40. That doesn't mean you're a winning player, right? You got to help your team win in order to be known as a winning player and be a leader. So, yeah, Jalen Brunson's achieved that so far. To me, in my eyes, he's got nothing to prove, only to himself. Obviously himself, his family, he wants to win gold. Otherwise he'll be looked at as the starting point guard, Captain America, that didn't win the gold. Um, we always remember the teams on Team USA that don't win. We definitely celebrate the ones that win the gold, but Jalen Brunson knows what it's about, and he's coming for it. Yeah, he's coming for it. Obviously, RJ Barrett's a little younger in his career, especially with Canada. Um, but RJ Barrett is going to have to kind of be that leader on his team as well, because his team's not that old. You got Dylan Brooks. He's not really. His character is questionable. Um, Obviously, SGA was on a losing team, so you could talk about SGA's talent, but he was on a losing team. RJ Barrett was on a winning team, so he comes into Team Canada. He's bringing some of those intangibles. He, knows what it is to play a role, knows how it is to help his team win. Um, Obviously, SGA is going to be the man. SGA is going to take over for stretches, but RJ Barrett is definitely going to lead on some nights. I think he's going to lead the scoring on some nights, and I think they should focus him. Focus him and really give him that opportunity to handle the ball, handle the offense, score a lot, and all of those things. Because RJ Barrett's plays is kind of very complimentary for FIBA. His physical nature, he loves contact. He's not afraid to get into the paint, draw a foul. Yeah, like I said, if you can get guys in foul trouble, you'll do really well in FIBA, as I saw when Australia targeted Fournier, got him out of the game as well. So I think the US might struggle some games in terms of size. If Triple J gets in foul trouble, because teams are being physical with him, then they lose that rim protection as well. So I think Triple J is really critical to this team. Walker Kessler and Bobby Portis, we'll see. They're good NBA players. We'll see how they respond when they're playing these seasoned teams that know how to do some tricks, know how to do some stuff as well. Obviously, Germany play quite physical. The Wagner brothers get chippy. Rudy Gobert loves to, get physical as well. And then, of course, you've got the Spain, former Nick, Billy Hernan Gomez, those guys as well, the experience, the savviness, and all of that. But the best thing for USA is just to cruise through the group. Group C, they got Greece with no Giannis, Jordan and New Zealand starting on Saturday morning. So for Team USA, they should just aim to coast through the group, stay healthy, hopefully avoid, try to blow every team out, try to avoid playing their starters, reduce their minutes, and I think that's going to set them up great for the next stage to get through to the knockout round. They've really drawn a great group, Team USA. Now, on the other hand, Canada's going to have to fight their way through it all. France, obviously, 2 teams in each group will go through. They're up against it. Look, Lebanon, they should beat comfortably. Latvia has no KP, but they do have some NBA players still. And then obviously with France. So Canada, I expect to get through the group, absolutely. But they might have a little bit more toughness in terms of getting through that. Like I said, with Group E, also that's one to watch with Lauri Markkanen and Germany and Australia. I like the Dominican Republic getting out of Group A with Karl Anthony Towns. They look great. I think they're going to surprise some people. I would expect Lithuania to get out of Group D. With that said, and Spain and Brazil with Group G. So yeah, it's gonna be tight. It's gonna be physical. Um, Now for my predictions, so I think Team USA get the gold. I can't, I got to wait for the tournament to start, but I can't see it any other way. Um, Second, I think it's going to be between Spain, France, Canada, or Australia. That's going to be hotly contested. Um, my heart says Australia. My head says it's probably going to be Canada, Spain, or France, but we'll see. And then third, probably again one of those other two teams. But like I said, don't sleep on Brazil, Dominican Republic, Slovenia with Luka, and Lithuania and Germany as well. So yeah, that's something to look out for. Yeah, great competition, better than any kind of off season that these Knicks could have. Right, this is meaningful comp, and it's going to challenge the Knicks in many different ways. Like I said, Jalen Brunson's had different kinds of pressure on him. And his quotes last night in this press conference, he talked about there being no pressure. Like he doesn't really believe that there's any pressure. He believes in the work he's put in, and he believes that is what sets him up to thrive. Right, when the stakes are higher, he said. Um, he said, "There's no pressure. I just play. I work on my game. Obviously, certain times the stakes are higher, like now, but he trusts the work he puts in." So Jalen Brunson got where he got because he's one of the hardest working players. He's also humble. You don't hear him like Tyrese Halliburton. You can kind of clearly see the mindsets between the two. I think Jalen Brunson is a quietly confident guy. Tyrese Halliburton's a bit more, flamboyant. He's a bit outspoken as well. But yeah, Jalen Brunson holds all the qualities as a leader that you want, right? He lets his play do the talking. He doesn't take nonsense. And I think, yeah, when Team USA face a challenge, I think he's going to be there to help score, distribute, finish games out. Let's see. But, there are some teams that obviously have bigger lineups, and I think, there's probably going to be some times when Tyrese is the guy on the court, and Brunson needs to rest or sit. But for me, right, the choice is clear. I take the guy who's proven it at many different levels, and that's Jalen Brunson. I still think he's a better scorer than Tyrese. Obviously, Tyrese is more athletic, doesn't have the experience yet, but he's a great young player coming up. I respect Tyrese Halliburton's game. I'm not the biggest fan of him in terms of the way he does it. But let's see, they're going to need, Team USA is going to need both of these guys firing. Now, unequivocally, the guy is Ant-Man Edwards that's going to lead the way for this team. Too hard to stop. He's athletic, dynamic. He can slam it on people. He can do whatever he wants on this court. So, yeah, he's ready to take that next leap. He's ready to bust out. So, I think Ant-Man is the clear bet for a player of the tournament for me so far. I would have him ahead of SGA. But yeah, don't be surprised if Jalen Brunson is that guy everyone's still talking about. And giving more praise to RJ Barrett as well. Can't wait. These Knicks are in action. Let's get it. Dirty says Wally was out of line. Tyrese was a dummy who wanted to be on the Kings. Yeah. With that situation is, I think, yeah, just a very young guy. They say some things. Wally was kind of out of line, but yeah, Wally's kind of very much a Knicks fan. He's very invested. All of that. I think what some of the Halliburton's antics ticked him off as well. That made him kind of say something like that. Um, in terms of Giannis, right? You're saying if he doesn't get hurt, the Heat would be the laughing stock right now instead of the Golden Boys. Um, yeah, I think the Bucks really rely on Chris Middleton a lot, and I think that shows. Giannis, we know, is not the biggest shot creator. He's not the best shooter as well. Every team needs that sniper. We know Drew Holiday's a kind of a fix-it-all utility guy, defend, score some, lock down. Um, but yeah, with Middleton, he's that guy that kind of bails them out, and I think they really miss that. I really miss that. So, uh, yeah, I think the league is basically caught up to Milwaukee um, from where they were at when they won their chip. I think the league's caught up. I think the Knicks have obviously got stronger. Remember, we used to get blown out by Milwaukee. Like, we used to be a solid, 500 team, and we would still get blown out by Milwaukee. Now we could definitely challenge Milwaukee any game, regardless. Right? We have the soldiers, we have the squad, and the same applies for Boston. So yeah, with that, I think Milwaukee did all the right things to when they won the chip. They beat the Phoenix Suns. Giannis had a hell of a finals. But without a new injection of talent, I just don't know if they can get there again. Like, Brook Lopez is aging. Bobby Portis is a nice piece off the bench. Like, to me, Drew Holiday has clearly regressed. He's still at a very high level, but there's regression. And I think that actually, Giannis knows that. Like, this guy's been around every day. He knows what it takes to win. And he knows that the Bucks are falling, or other teams are catching up. And he's putting pressure on them to make sure they do everything possible right now. Obviously, like Dirty mentioned, the salary situation's tough, right? That can really give you restrictions on, on how to improve the team. So yeah, every time you win a chip, you should be looking to inject new talent where you can. Obviously, they've lost DiVincenzo since. I think they've lost Grayson Allen. Yeah, fascinating season coming up. We'll see how they look. We'll see how it all works out. But right now, they're hanging on to that number one spot by the skin of their teeth because the rest of the league is coming. If Miami get Dame, the Knicks are there. If Philly continue to, flounder, but if they keep Harden, they're still a force. Maybe the Cavs give them some headaches now too. So, yeah, we'll see. But yeah, the East is really even now. Now, yeah, we addressed the Raptors situation, but for those that have missed it or a replay gang, let us know your thoughts. But the reason I wanted to do this was just to take a trip down memory lane, but use facts, not speculation, to point out the fact that trades within a division are very, very unlikely, and this is history telling us. Obviously, the last trade with the Raptors was Bargnani 10 years ago. That was kind of a situation where we were giving the Raptors a hell of a deal, so we needed Bargnani to compete and to please Melo, to make sure we're looking like we're trying to make an addition to compete with Melo and Stat. But for Toronto side, they were getting a hell of a deal, a first round draft pick for a player that they wanted out. So that's a reason why we did that deal with the Raptors. It was 2013, 10 years ago. Now the trade before that was 2006 with Jalen Rose. An aging veteran as well. The Knicks were desperate, and they traded Jalen Rose, which ended up being Ronaldo Borkman for Antonio Davis. So that was that. Obviously, the Boston Celtics, like I said, was Evan Fournier sign and trade, where Boston just they had no choice. They didn't want to lose Fournier for nothing, so they did a little sign and trade with the New York Knicks. But before that, it was 2010, which is 13 years ago now. So 2 trades in the last 13 years with Boston. Now Philly. A couple of really minor trades for second round picks. Billy Hernan-Gomez. The Knicks dumping Austin Rivers to get a draft pick, Jericho Sims. And we got T. Ferg and Vincent Poirier. Before 21, it was 2015. It was the minor move again. Billy Hernan-Gomez, second round draft pick on draft night for Phil Jackson's guy. And then we don't even need to look at the New Jersey Nets, Brooklyn Nets. Like those teams just don't do any deals, right? I wasn't even alive when the last trade was done between Brooklyn and the Nets. So, right, people need to understand the history of relationships between the teams and why they don't do trades. So, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets are not trading Mikal Bridges to the Knicks. What is more likely? Yeah, trades within the conference. Like, let's say, what are some teams that the Knicks have a solid relationship? I would say Indiana. We've done a few deals. I would say Detroit. The Knicks have been amicable doing some trades with Detroit. Scott Perry had some relationships in the East. I think Chicago, we've done a few trades with them, but they're notoriously difficult to deal with. But I would say we're still, in terms of the front offices, there's no bad blood. Oklahoma is a team that the Knicks do trades with out west. The Clippers with the Mook Morris, Emmanuel Quickley trade. And of course, we're talking to the Clippers for Paul George as well. So yeah, that lets you know. And obviously the Toronto Raptors now, we are not doing a trade with them. So we could either hope for OG Anunoby to be on another team, or get somebody else. So yeah, that's how it plays out with this thing. Yeah, but this guy who's been infiltrated the Knicks scouting reports, information, sharing passwords for accounts, all of those things. Now, obviously, it could still turn out to be very much in the Knicks' favor if the league steps in. The New York Knicks might score some sort of compensation that way, or it could just be monetary in terms of being a civil suit. The Toronto Raptors might end up, their coach might be in hot water, so we wait to see what happens on that side. This guy might lose his job, but the league might now start to look at, should we, implement some restrictions, on guys moving from team to team. Does this open the eyes of many other front offices in terms of what's ethical, what's not? So yeah, there's many layers, and we wait to see what ends up happening with this. But the facts do strongly support that the New York Knicks have a grievance, a right to feel their grievance, and I expect them to get some sort of compensation out of it. But obviously the case has got to play out. More facts might come out. But this certainly isn't something that I feel like is, like Toronto and some of the media are saying, in terms of just sweeping it under the rug, right? This is, something that the New York Knicks have lost proprietary information, right? And this guy did sign an agreement. he signed a confidentiality agreement. So yeah, this guy is very brazen. It looks like it was very traceable what he tried to do, and I do think the Knicks will get something out of it. Whether it's a second round pick, possibly if the league steps in, or extra money. Maybe we take on their draft pick. Who knows? I don't think it's going to be a player. I've never heard of or seen anything like that in terms of player compensation. But yeah, recapping what Giannis Antetokounmpo just said, this was just dropped today. Like the chat said, putting pressure on the organization. Time is kind of now for this organization. Time's ticking. I don't think Giannis is a guy who wants to play late into his 30s. He just doesn't seem to me to be that kind of guy. Seems like he wants to do a lot of other things. Like you said, on the business side of things, he's got big ambitions. So the quote, I don't want to be 20 years on the same team and still doing the same. So we'll wait and see. Like I said, I think the best way we acquired Jalen Brunson was via free agency. That's what I love. So, like tonight, talking about the trades within the division, I really feel like that's a tricky situation. But at least Milwaukee's not in our division. So we wait and see. But Giannis could be a name. There could be more to look out for this season with this. He seems to be a loyal guy, but at least he's letting them know, and these quotes are very, very interpretable, that he's not all the way sold. He wants to see them do things more or do a different way, and get the support, that he needs. Obviously, to be the number one team and lose in the first round, that's not going to fly. That's not right. But yeah, can't wait for the kickoff of the FIBA World Cup. It officially kicks off basically in less than 24 hours, whether you're on the same time zone, but within the next day. And we wait and see how well our New York Knicks can do for their teams, but they're going to play a big role. That's what I'm most looking for in terms of the reps and these guys playing big ball in the off-season, probably 20-25 minutes minimum each game. So that's great. Like I said, there's going to be some challenges along the way, probably later into the group stage for the USA. But for Canada, right now, basically, France are one of the teams to beat in this tournament. How does RJ Barrett look? We'll break it all down. We'll talk about it. I'll do a show again, same time tomorrow night, and we'll recap it all. And hopefully the New York Knicks players, there's been a lot of accolades and a lot of things to talk about in the game. RJ Barrett shooting the ball well, shooting efficiently, scoring well, but looking great with the jump shot. So yeah, I'm rooting for Canada to obviously beat France. It would likely mean that RJ Barrett's had a great game, and I'm surely rooting for Jalen Brunson, Team USA. I think both teams obviously should medal, finish in the top 3, and we'll break it all down. We'll talk about it. Salute. We'll continue to keep you up to date with what's happening with the Raptors Knicks suit, and any other quotes around the league from Giannis, from James Harden, right? The training camp is basically, we're just over a month away, media day, but we got this ball to take us through to that. That Captain America, that guy on screen, big part of this team and what they do. Jalen Brunson going to stand up, going to have a great performance, and we're going to talk about it. So salute to the chat. Hope everyone's well. Stay blessed, and thanks for the support. Smashing that like button. The streets are buzzing. Peace.